Good evening, Patriots. I'm Gary Franchi. This is the Raw Feed, where we don't just report the news, we get your reactions to it live. That's why we're reading your comments and super chats, your rumble rants right now as they come in. Drop them in the chat. We'll feature them on the screen for millions worldwide to see. This is your show as much as it is mine. Before we dive in to tonight's explosive stories, share the stream right now, text it to your friends, bypass big tech algorithms, and for our ex-viewers, hit that repost button and spread the truth to your followers. We're streaming live on YouTube, Rumble, and X simultaneously, so make sure you're following us on all platforms because you never know when one might try to silence us. We are just over halfway through week 18 of Donald Trump's historic return to the White House. On this day in history, in May 29th, we remember another moment when establishment forces tried to destroy an American patriot. On this date in 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay conquered Mount Everest, proving that impossible heights could be reached when you refuse to accept the limits others place on you. Well, today, Trump faces his own Everest. Activist judges, deep state saboteurs, even betrayal from within his own ranks, yet he keeps climbing, keeps winning, and keeps delivering for the American people. And speaking of delivering, our exclusive Next News merch is flying off the shelves at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Show the world where you get your real news. The link's in the description below. Want to support us privately? Well, you can hit those donation links. We are funded by you, not corporate overlords. Now, tonight's lineup will blow your mind. We've got Trump's trade victories sending the economy into overdrive while judges desperately try to stop him. We've uncovered a Christian conservative fired from the Kennedy Center by Trump's own appointee for refusing to abandon his biblical beliefs. And the FBI's massive cleanup operation under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino is exposing everything, including what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein. And the Autopen scandal? Well, Congress is closing in on who was really running the country while Biden was MIA. For our YouTube members, you're getting special recognition in the chat, exclusive access to our team, behind-the-scenes content, and our members-only Discord running 24/7. Each membership level has its own perks, so join today to become part of the Next News family. The link's right there in the description. So keep those super chats and rumble rants coming in. We'll be reading them between segments. Remember, this is where your voice matters, where you become part of the story. We're not just talking at you like the corporate media. We are talking with you. The deep state thought they could outlast Trump. They thought their judges could block him, their bureaucrats could sabotage him, their media could destroy him. But here we are, week 18, and America is winning. Jobs are skyrocketing. Inflation is crushed. Consumer confidence is soaring. The establishment is in full panic mode, and tonight you will see exactly why. So get ready for a show that pulls no punches, tells no lies, and gives you the ammunition that you need to fight for this republic. The revolution isn't coming. It is here. It is now, and you are a part of it. This is the Raw Feed. So let's do this and welcome you to the show. What's up? Right out the gate, Squeeze a Lot, dropping $5 in the Alex Jones was right jar. Thank you, sir, for that. We're going to keep filling this jar up tonight. You guys are the ones that have the power to fill it up. Make sure you share the stream, too, because that is how we bypass the algorithm. Squeeze a Lot, lift off, bask in the light of truth. Thank you for that very much. Okay, let's continue to see if there's any other super chats to get to. I want to welcome everyone to the show. Who's here tonight? We've got Tom B420, Deanne Skillet, Pothead Kenny, Jeremy Olson. We've got R. Boyd, Squeeze a Lot, Miss Pothead Kenny. We've got, let's see, who else is here? We've got Loyalty to Truth. We've got Duty to Rebel, Reach the Masses, Robert Lockhart. We've got Deplorable Diva Haynes in the house. Who else? Hot Rod Mike, CME Gordy. Joseph is here. Larpin for Cash is here. Who else? We've got Irony Rose, In the Mind of Charles. We've got Sure You in the house. What's up? Good to see you here. Let's see. Elaine Miller and more. So people are continue to file in as the show gets moving. We'll be monitoring your chat messages throughout the program. So let's get our first story in the can, shall we? But first, we have a trivia question. Which president first used tariffs as a weapon to protect, let's see where it is, here it is. Which president first used tariffs as a weapon to protect American manufacturing from foreign competition? Was it A, Thomas Jefferson with the Embargo Act of 1807, Abraham Lincoln with the Morrill Tariff of 1861? Was it William McKinley with the McKinley Tariff of 1890? Or was it D, Franklin Roosevelt with the Smoot-Hawley Tariff of 1930? You guys can go ahead and fill out the answer in the poll question in the chat room, or you can just drop the answer in the chat room or in the comments, and we will get to the answer after this segment. All right, let's get into it. They said Trump's tariffs would crash the economy. They said his trade wars would destroy American jobs. They said his policies would send us into recession. Well, guess what? The exact opposite has happened. Consumer confidence just hit a 4-year high. Business leaders are calling Trump's vision incredible. Manufacturing is coming home. Jobs are exploding. Even the CEO of NVIDIA has praised the president's bold plan to reindustrialize America. But here's what they don't want you to know. While Trump delivers victory after victory, activist judges are trying to sabotage everything. They're blocking tariffs. They're undermining negotiations. They're attacking the very foundations of presidential power. So keep on watching. So here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means $100,000 today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. You see it when you fill up your tank, you buy groceries, you pay your bills, prices up, dollars down, but there's a simple way to protect your savings with something real, something proven. Gold, an asset that holds value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple. No high-pressure sales, no call centers in India, just honest guidance, one-on-one support, transparent pricing. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked below. Don't just trust your wealth. Don't just protect your wealth. Preserve its power and trust Noble Gold Investments. Call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347, and tell them Gary Franchi sent you when you talk to Colin. Now, the American economy is roaring back to life, and the establishment just can't stand it. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett just dropped a truth bomb that has the swamp panicking. Watch as he explains exactly how Trump's policies are delivering on every single promise made to the American people.
Yeah. And did you see the consumer sentiment numbers that came out? So the people are starting to see that Trump policies are working. They had a couple of months where their sentiment was down because they were listening to the media saying, oh, this is going to be the end of the economy. But now we're seeing that the policies are working. You know, business investment is skyrocketing. Jobs are skyrocketing. Inflation is going down. It's exactly as we said. And the thing about where the 4% comes from is not just picking a number out of the air. That what we've done by simulating the Trump tax cuts, we get to 3% growth very easily. And we said it's the same models that said it in 2017, and then we got it. You'll remember that, Maria.
Yeah.
The thing that's different this time is because artificial intelligence is diffusing all across the economy right now and increasing the productivity of every business. It's better at playing chess. It's better at managing inventories.
Yeah.
And that artificial intelligence productivity boom, estimates are that it's an extra 1 to 1.5% growth. And so if we get, say, the 1.5% growth out of AI plus the 3% from the taxes, it is mostly additive. And so you're looking at north of 4% growth. And that's where I got that number. It's not just picking a number out of the air.
Right.
Business investment skyrocketing, jobs exploding, inflation plummeting. It's exactly what Trump promised and exactly what the media said was impossible. But it gets better. Hassett revealed the secret sauce behind Trump's economic miracle. Artificial intelligence is adding an extra 1 to 1.5% growth on top of 3% from tax cuts. We are looking at north of 4% growth, folks, not picking numbers out of thin air. These are the same models that predicted Trump's first-term success. He even went further, exposing how this trade negotiation season has been incredibly effective for American workers. He called out the judges trying to sabotage these historic deals right when other countries are coming to the table with massive concessions. This is must-see footage of him defending Trump's strategy. Watch.
Well, actually, I think if President Trump had just a minute more, if you go back into the room behind the Oval, he's got all his hats and things over there.
Yeah.
And he has a hat which is the accurate response to what that person said, which is Trump always wins. You go, look, a lot of people are wearing that hat. Trump always wins and Trump was always right. Those are the two. But Trump does always win these negotiations because we're right. We're right that America has been mishandled by other governments, that our tariffs are taking them to the table, and they're coming in with massive concessions, opening up their markets to our products and lowering their tariffs on us. And so this trade negotiation season has been really, really effective for the American people. And it's unfortunate that people would attack it as the journalists did or the way the judges just did. You know, that these activist judges are trying to slow down something right in the middle of really important negotiations. And the idea that the fentanyl crisis in America is not an emergency is so appalling to me that I'm sure that when we appeal, that this decision will be overturned.
Well, Trump always wins because we are right. America has been taken advantage of for too long, and now these countries are opening their markets and lowering their tariffs on us. Yeah, right in the middle of these crucial negotiations, activist judges are trying to sabotage everything. Former White House official May Cook went on Fox to expose the constitutional reality. Trump has every legal right to use tariffs to defend America, just like Nixon did successfully against Japan back in 1971. Watch.
Every time President Trump has tried to defend America, we've had judicial overreach. And if you actually look, there's precedent in 1971 where you had Richard Nixon doing the same thing against the Japanese, a 10% tariff, and he imposed it. There was no pushback. So what President Trump has to do is go through the courts again, go to the Supreme Court. But these tariffs are here to stay. So anything that the stocks are reflecting, it's clearly going to be wrong today. I think people need to hold their purses and actually understand that President Trump has the authority to do this. You look at manufacturing deficits today. When you look at the trade deficit, it's $971 billion. So we have a national emergency. We have an economic emergency. And what I'm seeing today is judicial overreach of presidential authority. This is exactly what the president is in charge to do. He's the commander in chief. He should be setting trade policy.
Yeah. These tariffs are here to stay, despite judicial overreach trying to undermine presidential authority when we face a $971 billion trade deficit emergency. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he's already delivering massive results for American infrastructure. He just revealed how his team ripped out all of the climate and social justice requirements that were delaying projects and costing taxpayers billions. Watch him explain how they're making America build again without all the woke nonsense. Watch.
Larry, first, every single grant had a request that people look at climate or they look at social justice. And so the problem is that costs the taxpayer money, 10, 15, 20% of a project in these additional costs that don't turn dirt, that don't build roads and bridges. And it takes more time when time is money. So the wasted cash of these requirements in these projects is outrageous, number one. But number two, Larry, I don't know if you followed the CAFE standards. That's the fuel efficiency standards that come from the Department of Transportation. The last administration put the standard at 50 miles a gallon. Well, there's no combustion engine that can come close to getting 50 miles to the gallon unless you put in EVs. Well, this analysis was never supposed to have EVs in the combustion engine analysis, and so we're gonna relook at what these numbers should be. It's probably closer to 40 miles a gallon versus 50. But if you can't meet the fuel efficiency standards as a fleet, if you're GM or Ford, you have to pay an additional tax or you have to buy a carbon offset. It was driving up the cost of a car by $2,000, $3,000 a vehicle because of these climate standards that no one could meet. So we're rolling back the crazy and we're bringing common sense. We want to build more projects. We want to build them faster. We want to have fuel efficiency standards that car companies can match and meet. And again, I think that's what America wants. They want us to build again.
America is building again without the crazy climate standards that drove up car prices by thousands of dollars through impossible fuel efficiency requirements that no combustion engine could meet. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang just delivered a powerful endorsement of Trump's economic vision. In this CNBC interview, he praises the president's bold plan to reindustrialize America and bring manufacturing home. His message about Trump's leadership and American value will give you chills. This is why tech leaders are backing MAGA. Watch.
The most important thing is this, Jim. Our president wants America to win. The president laid out a bold vision for United States, for America to reindustrialize the onshore manufacturing so that we can have a more resilient supply chain, so that we can create jobs locally, very importantly, so that we become great at manufacturing again. At a time when manufacturing isn't about labor, but it's about labor only, but it's about technology. And so that vision is incredible. This initiative by the president is likely going to set the United States up for a century. For this century to come, this is going to be a very big deal.
So this initiative is setting America up for the next century, creating a resilient supply chain and bringing manufacturing jobs home at a time when technology, not just labor, drives production. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Plute went on Fox News to hammer home what Trump's policies mean for regular Americans trying to buy homes. After 4 years of Biden making the American dream impossible, watch Plute explain how Trump's team is fixing the housing crisis and making homes affordable again. Watch.
We have to reverse the last 4 years of inflation under Joe Biden. I mean, what happened in the last 4 years cannot be understated. And now what you have is you have mortgage rates that have skyrocketed. And so what we're trying to do, Bill, is take cost out of the system and get homes so they can be affordable again. People couldn't, for the last 4 years, Bill, afford a home. The American dream is what America is all about. And we're going to restore the American dream under President Trump. You mentioned there is a security for Fannie and Freddie, which trades on what's called the pink sheets. But President Trump is thinking way bigger than that, and stay tuned on what his decision is there.
Mortgage rates skyrocketed under Biden, but now we are restoring the American dream by making homes affordable again for working families. Even everyday Americans on the street are feeling the Trump boom. Fox News went out and asked regular folks what they think about the president's performance. And their responses show exactly why the establishment media narrative is crumbling. Real Americans see what is really happening in this country. Watch.
So what is it about what's going on with the president that you like? He's a disruptor, and he's disrupted a lot.
And I like that because he is so good. He's just getting so many things done.
All right.
He's amazing.
Nice to meet you.
This country. He loves this country.
He loves this country. He's getting things done. That is the voice of real America, not the D.C. swamp. Meanwhile, crazy Nancy Pelosi is desperately lying about the one big beautiful bill, claiming that it's just tax cuts for the wealthy. Wrong. This is the largest tax cut in American history, targeted squarely at working Americans. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, a 15% cut for those making between $30,000 and $80,000, expanded child tax credit, savings accounts for newborns, and strengthened paid family leave. The Fraternal Order of Police just endorsed it as a promise kept to public safety officers and a bold step towards an economy that respects, rewards, and uplifts the people who keep it safe. So, if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It is time for my final thought. And this is why they're terrified, folks. Trump isn't just winning. He's exposing their entire rigged system. For decades, they told us we had to accept decline, accept the jobs leaving, accept the factories closing, accept that China would eat our lunch. Now Trump is proving it was all a lie. 4% growth, manufacturing returning, workers winning. And the establishment's response? Send in their black-robed tyrants to overrule the will of the people. But here's the thing. Trump always wins these fights. He's won in 27 when they said he won in 2017 when they said his tax cuts would fail. He's winning now as consumer confidence soars and businesses invest billions. So the only question left is, will Republicans in the Senate have the guts to pass the one big beautiful bill and cement this victory? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And while you're fired up, check out our Next News merch shop, link below. You're watching the Next News Network. All right, we got Sue Studio dropping $2, and another Sue Studio dropping $2. Hands doing a fist bump, character waving their hands, saying, me! Thank you for that. Put that in the jar. And I know you guys want to see the trivia question. Y'all said, C, William McKinley. Well, let's get the answer to the trivia question, because the answer is B, Abraham Lincoln with the Morrill Tariff of 1861. Lincoln used protective tariffs to fund the Civil War and protect Northern manufacturing from British competition, proving tariffs can rebuild American industry. Okay, we're moving into our next topic of the evening, which brings me to our next trivia question. Which president first appointed an openly gay person to a high-level federal position? Was it Bill Clinton appointing James Hormel as ambassador? Was it B, Barack Obama appointing numerous cabinet officials? Was it C, Donald Trump appointing Richard Grenell as ambassador to Germany? Or D, Joe Biden appointing Pete Buttigieg as transportation secretary? We'll get that poll up, and you guys can answer in the poll or in the chat room or the comments, and we'll get the answer after the segment. You won't believe what just happened at the Kennedy Center. Trump sent his people in to clean house, to purge the woke insanity that's infected our culture. And the mission was clear: make the Kennedy Center great again. But instead of draining the swamp, one of Trump's own appointees just pulled the trigger on cancel culture. The victim? A Christian conservative who helped build the movement that put Trump in the White House. The executioner? Rick Grenell. Yes, a Trump ally who just fired Floyd Brown for refusing to abandon his biblical beliefs about marriage. The left didn't take down Brown. One of our own did. This is the scandal they don't want you to see. And we're going to break it all down with some exclusive insight directly from Brown himself. Now, cancel culture isn't just destroying careers, it's destroying bodies. When you're under constant attack, stress, hormones, they flood your system, breaking down collagen, the protein that keeps your skin firm and your joints healthy. By 40, you've already lost significant collagen, aging faster than nature intended. That's why I use Ageless Multi-Collagen. 5 key collagen types from 4 premium sources, hydrolyzed for easy absorption, no clumping, no odor. Just mix it into your coffee or your smoothie. Clean ingredients only. That's why RFK Jr. loves it. No GMOs, no hormones, no garbage. Visit healthwithgary.com today for 51% off plus free shipping. Your body will thank you. Now, this is the betrayal that nobody saw coming. Floyd Brown, conservative legend and co-founder of Citizens United, recruited personally to help restore the Kennedy Center, he's been terminated, not by the left, not by the media, but by Rick Grenell, Trump's own appointee, who now serves as the interim president of the Kennedy Center. Brown's firing came just 2 hours after CNN contacted him about his Christian views on marriage. 2 hours. That's all it took for cancel culture to claim another victim inside Trump's own administration. President Trump himself laid out the mission for the Kennedy Center just months ago. Watch him explain his vision to restore this American institution and purge the woke programming that's been poisoning our culture. This is what Trump wanted before Grenell took matters into his own hands. Watch.
So instead of putting forward programming that tears our country down and tears our country apart, the Kennedy Center should be the nation's premier venue for lifting up the best of our country and lifting up the American arts, theater, music, and culture. And together, it's really an honor to be with. I mean, I have so many friends on the board. This is a hot board, just like we have a hot country. You know, we have a hot country. Our country was stone cold 8 months ago. It all began on November 5th. Does everybody know that that was election day? And from that moment on, and then January 20th came, and what we've done, we have almost no inflation. Our energy prices are way down. Our gasoline costs are way down. Groceries are way down.
Trump's vision was crystal clear. Lift up American arts and culture, not tear down our values. But something went terribly wrong. The president has been personally involved in transforming the Kennedy Center, even serving as the chairman of the board. Here he is at his first board meeting talking about the massive changes planned to restore this institution. Now pay attention to his commitment to making the Kennedy Center part of making America great again. Watch.
So we're going to spend a lot of effort, a lot of money on crime, and we're going to spend it on fixing up. We don't want graffitis on the beautiful white statuary marble. and we want to have our roads good and everything else. We'll be able to do that easily. And this is a part of it. I mean, Kennedy Center is a very big part of it. And you can't have this looking like it does. I'm so surprised because, you know, I know the person who was in charge of it, and he's a good man. I never realized this was in such bad shape. I've been so busy, I haven't been able to be here in a long time. And I shouldn't be with what I'm doing. But I thought it was important because I've been hearing reports, and I thought it was very important to make this good. It's a very big part of the fabric of Washington, D.C.
He's investing money and effort to fix what's broken, to make the Kennedy Center a cornerstone of our nation's cultural revival. Now, Brown told me exclusively that he was fired for these specific remarks you're about to see from 2023, speaking at a Christian conference about the influence of homosexual staffers in the Republican Party. These are the words that got him canceled, not by liberals, but by a Trump appointee. Listen to what Christian conservatives apparently can't say anymore.
Which I never talk about. So when I was on Capitol Hill, I worked in Republican staff. And what most people don't understand is that many of the Republican members have homosexual staff. And the reason that they do is because the homosexuals, usually, unlike me, I had 2 kids at home, I had a wife at home, I had responsibilities at home, and I needed to spend time with my children. And they don't. They didn't. They literally worked for the member 24/7 and then went out to Adams Morgan and had their gay sex and then came back to work the next day. And so inside the Republican Party, inside the RNC, I mean, it was President George W. Bush who appointed a chairman of the RNC who was openly homosexual. His name was Ken Melman, okay? And they went through the RNC and systematically filled it with homosexual staff. And that's why we never make any progress on family issues. You know, activists at the local level, we wonder why aren't our Republican members of Congress fighting for traditional marriage? Well, because they've got 3 staff members who are against it, and that impacts them. And it's a dirty little secret that nobody wants to share.
He shared an uncomfortable truth about why Republicans never make progress on family issues, because of internal opposition from staffers who don't share those values. Trump even spoke from the presidential box at the Kennedy Center, promising major changes from everything from seats to decor. Watch the president's commanding presence as he takes ownership of this cultural institution. This is the leadership that was supposed to protect conservatives like Floyd Brown, not fire them. Watch.
We're going to make a lot of changes, including the seats, the decor, pretty much everything. It needs a lot of work.
Mr. President, are you surprised by the reaction that the Vice President got here at the Kennedy Center with the other leaders?
I don't know about that. He's the most popular Vice President we've had in years. He's done a great job. I don't know anything about it. I figured you'd ask a question like that.
Mr. President, what are we talking about price-wise to renovate, bring it up to...
Well, we're looking at that, whatever it is. I think, it's such an important part of the fabric of the country and of D.C. So we want to do it right. We'll do it right, and we'll do it once.
President Trump, would you consider...
So you want a little picture like this? Perfect. Go ahead. Are you guys ready? Come on. We're good, sir.
Sir, you want to speak to us later, too, when we're closer. That would be great. Perfect. Thank you, press. Right this way.
Whatever it takes to do it right. That was Trump's promise. But apparently doing it right now means purging Christians who hold biblical views. The president explicitly said that he was going to the Kennedy Center to straighten it out after years of woke programming. He wasn't worried about opposition. He was ready to fight. Watch Trump on Air Force One explaining his mission to fix the broken institution once and for all.
We'll see you very soon.
Are you going to the Kennedy Center tomorrow?
I am. I'll see you at the Kennedy Center. We have to straighten it out. It's not not a good situation, like everything else in this country.
Do you worry because Vice President Vance was booed there a couple days ago?
And he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Thank you, everybody.
Straighten it out. That's what he promised. Instead, we got a conservative fired for being conservative. And Trump made it clear that Kennedy Center would be the crown jewel of American culture under new leadership. He had total confidence in the team, including Rick Grenell. But watch what that confidence has produced. The firing of a Christian conservative who helped build the MAGA movement itself. Watch.
The Kennedy Center mission is to be the crown jewel of the arts and culture in our nation's capital. And under our new leadership, we're going to take this revered institution to heights that it's never seen before. I think we can take this to really because we have the right place. We have all the politicians, and then we have the people that want to get to know the politicians for lots of bad reasons. And, we have everybody here. They have to be here for something and sometime. I've got total confidence in the just great team that Rick and the group have put together. Sergio's done fantastically.
Taking it to heights never seen before. By firing Christians who won't recant their beliefs. This is not what Trump envisioned. And when a reporter asked Trump why he wanted to chair the Kennedy Center board, his answer was direct: no more woke programming. He called some shows a disgrace and promised to run it properly. This is exactly what Floyd Brown was hired to accomplish before Grenell pulled the trigger. Watch.
Why do you want to be chairman of the Kennedy Center board?
Because I want to make sure it runs properly. We don't need woke at the Kennedy Center. We don't need some of the shows were terrible. They're a disgrace that they were even put on. So I'll be there until such time as it gets to be running right.
Have you seen any shows there? How do you know they're terrible?
I didn't go. No, I got reports. It was so bad. I didn't want to go. There was nothing I wanted to see. Thank you very much, everybody.
No woke at the Kennedy Center, Trump's own words, yet firing Christians for biblical beliefs is the definition of woke cancel culture. Conservative commentator Nick Adams went on Fox to defend Trump's Kennedy Center vision, saying it should be open to everyone and celebrate all arts. But he revealed something crucial. The new team hasn't canceled anyone. The shows that left did so voluntarily. So why was Floyd Brown involuntarily terminated? That's the question. Watch.
Look, the reality is the Kennedy Center is open for business for everyone. We just want an art center that celebrates arts. We want common sense art. We think that it's time to invite every single person to the Kennedy Center. But one important thing to note, we issued a statement tonight. The new team at the Kennedy Center has not canceled anyone. I know there's some rumors out there that somehow we were canceling shows. We have not canceled anyone. They've pulled out themselves, or they were told that due to ticket sales, it wasn't financially good enough, and they decided to back out because they were concerned about the finances. And so we want a Kennedy Center that is open to everyone. And what that means is that shows like Hamilton are going to have to allow Republicans to buy tickets. But Lin-Manuel said, I don't want to have Republicans coming here. I don't want to be in a space where Republicans are coming to my shows. I think that's intolerant. And that's one of the things that Donald Trump has really brought back into Washington, into America, into the Kennedy Center, is to say everyone is welcome. We're not going to cancel. We're not going to tell people that they're not welcome. Everyone is welcome.
How ironic, right? That was Rick Grenell. Everyone is welcome. No cancellations. Peak hypocrisy from his own mouth. Right there on Fox. Except if you're a Christian who won't abandon your faith, then Rick Grenell is going to show you the door. Isn't that just crazy? You heard it from his own mouth. Even Scott Jennings on CNN called out the absurdity of Kennedy Center cast members boycotting Trump's attendance. He said that they're too fragile to show up for work because of politics. But what about conservatives who do show up for work only to be fired for their beliefs? Watch.
Yeah, I mean, these people are too fragile to show up for work. I mean, the Kennedy Center is like America's theater. I mean, the president appoints the people who are on the board of the Kennedy Center. We use it for all kinds of big national events, no matter who the president is. And so it's kind of sad to me that these folks are choosing to grind personal political axes instead of going to work at the Kennedy Center. I mean, most people in America don't have the luxury of being able to call in sick from politics, but it sounds like that's what these people did.
The irony is thick. Liberals can boycott over politics, but conservatives get fired over theology. And here's what Donald Trump said. He was unanimously elected chairman to stop the drag shows targeting our youth. He promised the best is yet to come for the Kennedy Center. Instead, we got the worst of cancel culture. You can see it right there. President Trump was just unanimously elected chairman of the board of the prestigious Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And Brown's termination email, his message was brutal. Look at that right there on the screen. Recant your beliefs or you are fired. He chose his faith. CNN never even published their hit piece, but Grenell fired him preemptively. This is friendly fire in the culture war. If Christians can't survive in Trump-controlled institutions, here's the question, who's really in charge? So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Now, this is not just about Floyd Brown. This is about whether Christians have a place in Trump's America. We sent Trump back to Washington to destroy cancel culture, not enforce it. We elected him to protect our values, not punish them. Floyd Brown helped create the conservative movement that made Trump possible. He produced the Willie Horton ad. He co-founded Citizens United. He's trained thousands of young conservatives, and his reward? Fired for quoting the Bible. Now, Rick Grenell had a choice. Stand with a fellow conservative or cave to CNN. What did he choose? He chose to cave to CNN. Zero backbone. The message is chilling. Even in Trump's own institutions, biblical Christianity is now a fireable offense. If Grenell can cancel Brown, who's next? Every pastor who preaches traditional marriage? Every parent who objects to drag queen story hour? Do you think Grenell should be removed for firing a Christian? That's my question to you. Should Trump fire him and rehire Mr. Brown? Drop your answer in the comments below. And remember, show your values proudly with Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, we've got the answer to the trivia question. Before we get to that, we have our Boyd initiating the Super Chat Wars. $10 to do that. See how full we can get the jar tonight, he wants to know. There we have it, $10 there. Tom B for 20, thanks. Gary N3 for life. There's a 5 spot right there. Squeeze a lot also dropping 5, saying no, they're scared of people with opportunities that then also have time to zero in on the political traitors. Drop Crocs in the swamp. That was a $5 message right there. And who else we've got? Tom B420 kicking it up a notch as well. Hi, Gary. Hi. Okay. There's $5 from Tom B420. Thank you, sir. And looks like Ruby Hoove has become a member. Oh, lost a $5 bill. We'll get that later. Ruby Hoove has just become a member. Welcome to the family. No. She gifted a membership, excuse me. And Drew B was the recipient. Welcome, Drew B, to the family. And Ruby Hoove also dropping $5 into the Alex Jones Was Right jar. We are all the way up to $39 in the jar tonight. What's up? Cool. Fun times. And we're just getting started. All right, now you guys want to know the answer? Well, the answer is C. You guys said B, Barack Obama. Well, the answer is C. Donald Trump appointing Rick Grenell as ambassador to Germany. Trump made history by appointing the first openly gay cabinet member, making this firing even more ironic. And I've met Rick Grenell. I met him at a Trump rally. I was in the VIP section in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And I took a picture with him and my family by the stage as we awaited Trump's arrival. But backstage, he wasn't the friendliest guy. He really had this elitist attitude. So that's how he rubbed off on me. That's how I got. Okay, I didn't particularly like it. Anyway, let's get to our next trivia question. Which White House press secretary was known for constantly deflecting questions about presidential health and competency? Was it A, Ron Ziegler during Nixon's Watergate crisis, B, Scott McClellan during Bush's Iraq War, C, Karine Jean-Pierre during Biden's cognitive decline, or D, Sean Spicer during Trump's first term? You can answer in the poll or in the comments or in the chat, and we'll get the answer after this segment. The gloves were off at the White House today. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just delivered a masterclass in exposing the deep state's judicial coup against President Trump. Consumer confidence is soaring. The economy is booming. Americans finally believe we're on the right track. But unelected judges are desperately trying to derail the Trump train. They're blocking his tariffs. They're protecting illegal aliens. They're forcing taxpayers to fund transgender surgeries. Well, today, Leavitt named names, exposing their schemes, and revealed how Trump is fighting back. She even torched a reporter trying to spin Gaza aid into controversy. This isn't just a press briefing. It's a declaration of war against the judicial resistance, and wait until you see this. And while judges attack Trump's America First agenda, something else is attacking our food supply, and it starts with the bees. Food prices are up 40% because our natural food chain is collapsing. At the heart, American honeybee is essential for pollination and survival of our crops. Patriot Bee Best is on a mission to restore America's bee population. This veteran-owned movement educates patriots, funds restoration projects, rebuilds habitats, and supports local beekeepers. You can subscribe at patriotbeebest.com with code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. You get the Patriot Bee Digest with actionable info and family content. Protect the bees and preserve the republic at patriotbeebest.com. It's linked down below. Now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, she came out swinging today, exposing the judicial insurrection, trying to stop Trump's America First agenda. She started with the good news, the one big beautiful bill that's about to transform America. Watch her explain why law enforcement is lining up behind Trump's vision for the largest border security investment in American history. Watch.
With Congress returning next week, it's critical that Senate Republicans maintain the momentum and quickly pass the One Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill will truly make America safe and prosperous. The One Big Beautiful Bill includes the largest border security investment ever. That's why the law enforcement groups are lining up to encourage its swift passage. The National Fraternal Order of Police, the largest police union in the country, just endorsed key provisions of the bill. The FOP president announced their strong support, saying the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is more than legislation. It is a promise kept to the public safety officers across the country and a bold step toward an economy that respects, rewards, and uplifts the people who keep it safe. And the National Border Patrol Council, which represents nearly 20,000 Border Patrol agents, hailed the legislation as well. The group's president said this legislation provides a once-in-a-generation investment in the border security of our great country and will make America safer. The One Big Beautiful Bill will guarantee we can permanently have the safest, strongest, and most secure immigration system in American history.
The Fraternal Order of Police and National Border Patrol Council both endorsed it because it delivers on Trump's promise for the safest, strongest immigration system in American history. But then Leavitt dropped the hammer on what she called another example of judicial overreach. 3 unelected judges brazenly abused their power to block Trump's Liberation Day tariffs designed to fix our trillion-dollar trade deficit. Watch her expose how these judges are undermining America's credibility on the world stage. Take a look.
Last night, the Trump administration faced another example of judicial overreach. Using his full and proper legal authority, President Trump imposed universal tariffs and reciprocal tariffs on Liberation Day to address the extraordinary threat to our national security and economy posed by large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits. The United States has run a trade deficit of goods every year since 1975. In 2024, our trade deficit in goods exceeded $1 trillion. Everybody agrees this is unacceptable. President Trump is delivering on his promise to fix this problem, and he has taken a long overdue and much needed bold stance for American workers after decades of our manufacturing base being hollowed out. The president's rationale for imposing these powerful tariffs was legally sound and grounded in common sense. President Trump correctly believes that America cannot function safely long-term if we are unable to scale advanced domestic manufacturing capacity, have our own secure critical supply chains, and our defense industrial base is dependent on foreign adversaries. 3 judges of the U.S. Court of International Trade disagreed and brazenly abused their judicial power to usurp the authority of President Trump to stop him from carrying out the mandate that the American people gave him. These judges failed to acknowledge that the President of the United States has core foreign affairs powers and authority given to him by Congress to protect the United States economy and national security. Congress had created the National Emergency Act to provide the congressional framework to strike down improper IEEPA use. And any questions over whether President Trump improperly imposed these IEEPA tariffs were already adjudicated in Congress following Liberation Day. Congress firmly rejected an effort led by Senator Rand Paul and Democrats to terminate the president's reciprocal tariffs. The courts should have no role here. There is a troubling and dangerous trend of unelected judges inserting themselves into the presidential decision-making process. America cannot function if President Trump, or any other president for that matter, has their sensitive diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges. President Trump is in the process of rebalancing America's trading agreements with the entire world, bringing tens of billions of dollars in tariff revenues to our country, and finally ending the United States of America from being ripped off. These judges are threatening to undermine the credibility of the United States on the world stage. The administration has already filed an emergency motion for a stay pending appeal and an immediate administrative stay to strike down this egregious decision. But ultimately, the Supreme Court must put an end to this for the sake of our Constitution and our country.
These judges failed to acknowledge the president's constitutional authority even after Congress rejected efforts to terminate his reciprocal tariffs. The Supreme Court must end this judicial coup. The American people are seeing through the lies. Levitt revealed that consumer confidence just surged, with the biggest monthly jump in 4 years, smashing all expectations. For the first time in Rasmussen polling history, a majority believes the country is on the right track. For the first time. Here's her powerful message about Trump's leadership. Watch.
Americans are growing more and more optimistic about the economy under this president. Consumer confidence surged in May, with the biggest monthly jump in 4 years, smashing expectations. According to the release from the Consumer Confidence Index, the increase in confidence was broad-based across all age groups, income groups, and political affiliations. Our country is clearly heading in the right direction under President Trump's bold leadership. For the first time in history of Rasmussen polling, a majority of Americans believe the country is on the right track. It's unsurprising because the president is fulfilling promises he made to the American people.
The increase crossed all age groups, income levels, and political affiliations because Trump is fulfilling every promise he made to the American people. And then Levitt went nuclear on the fake news about the one big beautiful bill. The swamp claims it increases the deficit using what she called shoddy assumptions from the CBO, the same people who were dead wrong about Trump's first term. Watch now. She demolishes their lies with actual facts about what this bill truly delivers.
I also want to take the opportunity to debunk some false claims that have been circulating in the press about this bill. The blatantly wrong claim that the One Big Beautiful Bill increases the deficit is based on the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers who use shoddy assumptions and have historically been terrible at forecasting across Democrat and Republican administrations alike. For example, just before Congress enacted the original Trump tax cuts at the end of 2017, the same CBO projected that growth would average a mere 1.9% over the next 10 years. However, by 2019, actual growth had surged to 3.4% once the Trump tax cuts went into effect, exceeding the CBO forecast by nearly 2 full percentage points. The CBO's latest forecast makes the same anemic growth assumptions as they did in 2017, missing the impact of the One Big Beautiful Bill. The CBO assumes long-term GDP growth of an anemic 1.8%, and that is absurd. The American economy is going to boom like never before after the One Big Beautiful Bill is passed. The largest middle-class tax cut in history, massive deregulation, and the most aggressive domestic energy exploration ever will fuel small businesses, further boost private investment, increase workers' wages, and supercharge economic growth. The Council of Economic Advisors has factored in the effects of all these pro-growth policies and estimated in their own analysis that growth will average 3% in the long run after the One Big Beautiful Bill is passed, which is nearly double the ridiculous CBO projection. This higher growth would result in $4.1 trillion in additional revenue over the next 10 years. Between the common sense spending reforms contained in the One Big Beautiful Bill and the robust economic growth that will be generated as a result of it, there will be no increase to the deficit. The same analysis from the CEA shows just how this historic package will unleash prosperity and ignite a blue-collar boom across America. But if the radical Democrats get their way and the One Big Beautiful Bill does not pass, Americans will face a whopping $4 trillion tax hike. This is unacceptable to President Trump. President Trump will not allow Democrats to massively raise Americans' taxes. Senate Republicans must get this bill passed. Failure is not an option. The American people are counting on Republicans to deliver.
Between spending reforms and robust growth, there's no deficit increase. Democrats want a $4 trillion tax hike on working families, and Trump won't let that happen because failure is not an option. When pressed about complying with rogue court orders, Leavitt made Trump's position crystal clear. They'll follow the law while fighting these activist judges every step of the way. The administration knows they're acting within the president's legal authority, and they will win on the merits. Watch.
The administration is operating under the directive given to from the president that we need to comply with the court's orders. He's made that very clear, but we're going to fight them in court, and we're going to win on the merits of these cases because we know we are acting within the president's legal and executive authorities.
Now, Trump's directive is clear. Comply with court orders while fighting to win because these judges are wrong on the law and the Constitution. But here's where it gets insane. Leavitt revealed the shocking pattern of judicial harassment against Trump. He faced more injunctions in 1 month than Biden did in 3 years. Watch as she lists the absolutely ridiculous rulings these radical judges have issued to sabotage the America First agenda. Take a look.
There is an effort by this administration to tackle these rogue judges and the injunctions and the blockades that we have faced in our broken judicial system in every case. I mean, we have seen time and time again these lower district court judges ruling against this administration in the president's basic executive authority and powers. And this administration is fighting every single one of those battles in court, including already the block that came down from the tariff court, the IEPA court last night. And as on my way out here to the briefing room, I understand that there was another district court judge right here in Washington, D.C. who ruled against the president's tariff power. And I will get to the heart of your question, and I'm glad that we are addressing this in the room today, because nationwide injunctions ordered against the first Trump administration, Trump 1.0, account for more than half of the injunctions issued in this country since 1963. And President Trump had more injunctions in 1 full month of office in February than Joe Biden had in 3 years. And let me roll through some of these radical injunctions to paint the picture for the American people at home. These are not just talking points. These are real judges in the court of law who are trying to block the president's power and the policies that he was elected to enact. For example, a court ordered the Trump administration to return already deported terrorist aliens back to the United States. A court has ruled the Trump administration can't even temporarily pause our refugee programs. Courts prohibited the Trump administration from eliminating federal funding for child transgender surgery and mutilation, a practice that the American people overwhelmingly reject. A court also held that the Trump administration could not ban people experiencing gender dysphoria or mental health issues from serving in the military. Ridiculous. Courts prohibited the removal of transgender women from women's prisons despite potential physical harm to real women in those prisons, biological women. A Northern District of California judge issued an absurd ruling that the president cannot fire people within the executive branch without Congress passing a bill, even though Congress has expressly authorized the president through the Office of Personnel Management to authorize reductions in force across agencies. A court also ordered the Trump administration to rehire thousands of already fired employees in several cases. A federal judge blocked the Trump administration from defunding the Department of Education, another signature campaign promise that this president has the power to implement. Courts ordered the Trump administration could not eliminate funding for illegal DEI programs, hence the word illegal. These are illegal programs to begin with, and now the courts are trying to say this president can't roll them back. And a district court judge prohibited the president from issuing any categorical funding freezes. And then another court ordered on top of that the administration makes $2 billion of payments in 36 hours. These are just a few of the ridiculous orders that we have seen from lower district court judges every day, and we hope that the Supreme Court will weigh in and rein them in.
Courts ordered Trump to return deported terrorists, fund child transgender surgery, keep biological men and women's sports and prisons. The list of insane rulings goes on and on. Then came the moment when Levitt absolutely cooked the fake news reporter, trying to spin the Gaza aid story. The reporter tried to make Trump look bad for providing humanitarian aid. Now watch as Levitt reminded everyone about Biden's failed $230 million pier that injured service members and delivered nothing. Watch.
Has this administration been briefed about the incident that happened in Gaza on Tuesday during the rollout of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distribution of aid to Palestinians there? And should there be a ceasefire, will this administration continue to rely on this foundation for the distribution of aid to civilians?
Are you referring, what incident are you referring to?
On Tuesday,
when the aid was rolled out to Gaza for the first time in many months, and meals and food was given to hungry people thanks to President Trump. Yes, we were briefed on that plan. The president was the reason that that aid went into Gaza, and he got the Israelis to support that plan. And I would add that the previous administration rejected such a plan to ensure that these starving and devastated people in the Gaza Strip were given humanitarian aid and assistance. And it was the previous administration that tried to build this pier, if you all remember it. It was brought to my attention this morning, and I thought that's a good point. Why don't I bring that up? Because there's been so much criticism. In fact, it was on the front page of a newspaper this morning about the criticism for this president having a humanitarian heart and giving people badly needed food and supplies. Nobody wanted to talk about how the previous administration failed in that endeavor. They built this pier that cost $230 million. It lasted about 20 days, and more than 60 U.S. service members were injured, as a part of this floating aid pier that did nothing for the people of Gaza. The president is opening up his humanitarian heart to get aid into the region while his team simultaneously negotiates a ceasefire and the return of all hostages. We are moving the ball forward in a positive direction for all people. The president wants to see peace for all people.
Trump succeeded where Biden failed catastrophically, getting real aid to desperate people while his team negotiates for peace and the return of all hostages. On illegal immigration, Levitt confirmed thousands are already self-deporting rather than face Trump's enforcement. Her message was direct and powerful. Take the easy way out or we'll deport you. This is what real border security looks like under a president who means business. Take a look.
I believe it's in the thousands of those who have chosen the easier route of self-deportation, and we certainly encourage all illegal aliens who are present within our homeland to take that option. It's a much more pleasant option than being deported, and we will deport you if you're here illegally. That's our intention.
The choice is simple. Leave voluntarily or be removed by force. Trump's making it clear that illegal presence in America is over. And finally, Levitt confirmed that Special Envoy Witkoff and President Trump submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel already backed. While Biden fumbled for 4 years, Trump's team is working to bring hostages home. Real leadership, real results, real negotiations that put America and our allies first. Watch.
I can confirm that Special Envoy Witkoff and the president submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel backed and supported. Israel signed off on this proposal before it was sent to Hamas. I can also confirm that those discussions are continuing, and we hope that a ceasefire in Gaza will take place so we can return all of the hostages home, and that's been a priority from this administration from the beginning. I won't comment further as we are in the midst of this right now.
So Israel signed off before it went to Hamas, and that's how you negotiate from strength, with our allies on the board from the start. So the press conference was a masterclass in fighting back against the narrative. While judges desperately try to stop him, while media spins every success into failure, Trump keeps on winning. The economy's booming, the border is securing, and America is back. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is right now. So this is what winning looks like, Patriots. Caroline Leavitt just showed America the truth. Trump is delivering on every promise while desperate judges throw legal tantrums. They can't stop the economic boom. They can't stop the border wall. They can't stop the American comeback. But they're trying. Oh, how they're trying. Ordering us to bring back terrorists? Forcing taxpayers to fund child mutilation? Protecting criminals in women's prisons? These aren't judges. They're resistance fighters in black robes. But here's what matters. Trump is fighting back and he's winning. Consumer confidence is through the roof. Trade deals getting done. Peace negotiations advancing. The establishment thought they could use their pet judges to nullify our votes. Well, they thought wrong. Leavitt exposed their whole game today. So here's the question. Should the Supreme Court immediately shut down these rogue lower courts? Yes or no in the comments. And you can support real journalism at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Together, you and I, we are unstoppable. Okay. Let's see. Squeeze a lot, drop in $5. We're going to get the answer to the trivia question. First, we'll address our super chatters. Thank you, sir. Squeeze a lot. What did you say there? What was the message? Sling evil fake news via giant trebuchet from the White House lawn into the ocean. Watching them starfish flail. Ah, she was epic today. Yes, she was. And Sue Studio dropping $2. Pixelated hippo chomps on a 1-up. All right, so there's $2 from Sue Studio 0530. Thank you. We'll put that in the jar. And we're going to get to the trivia answer. You guys said it was Karine Jean-Pierre, 92%. Well, guess what? You were 100% correct. The answer is C, Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre, during Biden's cognitive decline, she constantly deflected questions about Biden's mental fitness while the whole world could see the truth. All right, let's see. Resto Guy dropping $20. Thank you, sir. Jar War, it's on. Just kidding, $20. Damn. Big spender today. Resto Guy. We are now at $71. Oh, and Tom before 20 is like, I'll raise you $5, he says. With a simple thanks. You guys are so funny. All right. Okay, you guys see the new question we have on the screen there. This is our trivia question before we go to the next segment. Which presidential scandal involves forged documents that brought down an administration? Was it A, the Pentagon Papers under Nixon, B, the Watergate cover-up and edited transcripts, C, the Iran-Contra affair under Reagan, or D, the CBS Killian documents about Bush's National Guard service? You can drop your answer in the poll, or you can drop your answer, A, B, C, or D, in the chat or the comments below. Don't skip ahead. If you're watching the replay, don't skip ahead. You got to watch the segment. We'll get you the answer right afterwards. Now, I've been screaming about this scandal for months, and now Congress is finally listening. Joe Biden was not signing executive orders. Joe Biden wasn't signing pardons. A machine was. The Autopen scandal is exploding, and the implications are terrifying. Chairman Comer just revealed the smoking gun. Staffers operating Biden's signature machine have all lawyered up, and now they're all taking the fifth. They know they're in deep trouble. Legal experts are calling this worse than Watergate. So think about it. Who was really running America while Biden was mentally gone? Who authorized a robot to wield presidential power? And if these signatures are fake, are the pardons void? Are the executive orders illegal? The constitutional crisis is happening now, and it changes everything. Don't look away. We have the latest in this scandal. And just like Biden's fake signatures undermine trust in government, joint pain undermines trust in your own body. Most people reach for painkillers that mask symptoms while the real damage continues. But there's a natural solution doctors don't want you knowing about, a special turmeric extract that's 200 times more powerful than regular turmeric. It attacks inflammation at the source, turning off pain like a light switch. Dr. Josh discovered this breakthrough treatment, treating thousands of patients. No surgeries, no injections, no dangerous medications, just natural relief that actually lasts. You can learn his turmeric hack at goldenrevive.com/NNN. And trust me, your joints will thank you. All right, the Autopen scandal. It's unraveling faster than the Biden administration can cover it up. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just confirmed what we have suspected. Nobody in the White House is denying the Autopen was used. Watch her powerful statement about investigating who really controlled the presidency while Biden's mind was gone. Watch.
I think, frankly, the former First Lady should certainly speak up about what she saw in regards to her husband and when she saw it and what she knew. Because I think anybody looking, again, at the videos and photo evidence of Joe Biden with your own eyes and a little bit of common sense can see this was a clear cover-up. And Jill Biden was certainly complicit in that cover-up. There's documentation, video evidence of her clearly shielding her husband away from the cameras. They were just on The View last week. She was saying everything is fine. She's still lying to the American people. She still thinks the American public are so stupid that they're going to believe her lies. And frankly, it's insulting, and she needs to answer for it.
Jill Biden was complicit in the cover-up, shielding her husband from cameras while lying to America that everything was fine. Oh yes, she needs to answer for this deception. Now, the media that missed Biden's obvious decline on purpose now wants us to trust them? Well, Newsbusters just exposed their hypocrisy with this devastating compilation. The same journalist who ignored Biden's dementia spent years falsely diagnosing Trump with mental illness. Watch their credibility die in real time. Take a look.
People closest to Donald Trump during the campaign saying he's got early stage of dementia. He repeats the same stories over and over again, and not a single person who works for him doesn't know he has early signs of dementia.
People are saying we have to talk about his health now before it's too late.
There are now more than 26,000 signatures on an online petition entitled "Mental Health Professionals Declare Trump is Mentally Ill and Must Be Removed."
Some thought he might be suffering from early Alzheimer's.
It makes me recall people who are in the early stages of Alzheimer's.
There have been reports that the president has forgotten names, that he's repeating himself. Are you ruling out things like early onset Alzheimer's? Are you looking at dementia-like symptoms?
Are we watching the beginnings of dementia?
People suggest that dementia is setting in. Who knows what the story is?
Limited cognitive ability. This is what you talk about in a dementia case.
The White House getting very defensive today about the president's health.
Does the president have heart disease?
Does the president have heart disease?
Does the president have heart disease?
So the president has heart disease.
The president has heart disease.
There's been so much speculation about the unusual trip Trump took to Walter Reed last weekend. Trump says he went for a very routine physical because he had extra time. But does it all add up?
It quickly led to rumors he had a heart attack.
We all know that there's something going on. We all know that this is some cover-up from the White House.
Trump wouldn't be the first president to hide health issues.
Is the president of the United States suffering from some sort of illness?
Unbelievable. They had no problem attacking Donald Trump. But when it comes to Joe Biden, no. 26,000 signatures claiming Trump was mentally ill while Biden couldn't remember his own election date. The media knew. They all knew. Chairman James Comer's closing in on the truth. He revealed to Fox News that any executive order signed by the Autopen should be null and void. Biden signed 162 executive orders during his term. Watch now as Comer explains why these machine signatures might invalidate everything Biden supposedly did.
The chair of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman James Comer, joins me now. Congressman, we just got this coming at us. A new watchdog report from Pro Energy Group just found, quote, no evidence that Biden knew of crucial climate executive orders. They're now demanding answers on who signed with the Autopen. What happens if Biden really didn't know? Are those orders null and void?
I think they would be null and void. Look, at the end of the day, there's more evidence coming out by the second that would prove that Joe Biden wasn't the one making the decisions during the last 100 days of his administration, perhaps the last 6 months or even the last year. This is when the most activity occurred from the executive order standpoint throughout the whole Biden administration. We don't believe that a lot of these executive orders are legal if for no other reason Joe Biden did not sign them himself. You have to physically sign anything pertaining to the law, whether it be a pardon or whether it be an executive order. What we want to know is who gave the authority to these 4 staffers that we're bringing in. These are the staffers that we've identified as the ones who actually put the documents in the Autopen and pressed the power button to sign Joe Biden's name. We want to know who told them to do that. And we're going to follow the trail, just like we followed the money in the Biden influence family investigation. We're going to follow the trail as to who was using the Autopen.
No evidence Biden knew about crucial climate orders. The documents were signed when Biden wasn't even in the White House. This is massive fraud on a scale that's unprecedented. But I guess even worse, David Sachs just exposed who really controlled the Autopen. Elizabeth Warren. The fake Pocahontas was running executive power through a machine while Biden was mentally absent. Watch this shocking revelation about Warren's pathological hatred driving policy through forged signatures. Watch.
This is the financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to encourage it. What the Biden administration was doing, and let's face it, it wasn't Biden. Elizabeth Warren controlled the Autopen during that administration. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred of the crypto community. She wants to drive this community offshore. She doesn't want it happening in the United States. That's the wrong policy for the United States. We want all the innovation happening here. This is a financial system of the future. It's cheaper. It's more efficient. We want it happening here, Jesse, and I think people are thrilled that President Trump is making that possible.
Warren controlled the Autopen during the entire administration. She systematically attacked industries she's hated using Biden's mechanical signature. Pardon attorney Ed Martin went even further, calling this the biggest scandal imaginable. He told Glenn Beck the DOJ will aggressively pursue anyone who broke the law with Biden's Autopen. Now watch him explain the potential crimes we're talking about here. Forgery, fraud, and maybe even treason. Watch.
There's many, many laws that I would say apply to this. You know, someone brought up forgery. Forgery is the beginning of a conversation. I think fraud, there's all kinds of aspects of fraud that could be done if somebody's making money, big money off of it. There's many things. President Trump used in a Truth Social a post about treason, and I think as a member of DOJ, I'm going to tread carefully towards what I would describe as the likely crime. But there's a lot. If this was an abuse, like people are worried, there's a lot of crimes that were committed, and there will be.
If the facts show that it was happening, the DOJ will pursue aggressively justice?
The only way I know to do it is being aggressive, Glenn. You probably have seen this now. So, yes, I mean, we're going to get to the bottom of the facts. We're going to apply it to the law, and we're going to go like hell against the people that did this to the country. And, this is the biggest scandal I could ever imagine in our lives. There's never been anything like this at this point. And so I hope it's a lesser scandal than it looks like, but it's headed towards one of the most egregious things we've ever seen. So, yes, people will be held accountable, and yes, they will be held accountable by prosecutions.
They're going like hell against the people who did this to the country. Multiple crimes were committed if the facts prove this abuse happened. Scott Jennings on CNN exposed the pull-up girl running the White House. He revealed serious doubts about whether Biden actually signed thousands of pardons for drug offenses. Now watch him contrast Trump's signing in daylight with Biden's shadow government using machines. Watch.
I agree. It's being done out in the open. It's being done in the light of day. We're not doing it at the 11th hour here or as we're on our way up to the Capitol to see the next president being sworn in. And I might add, I don't think there's any doubt who's actually signing these pardons. You know, at the end of Biden's term, we had thousands of people that were pardoned or offered some kind of clemency for drug offenses. I have my doubts about whether Joe Biden signed all of those. And there's obviously, because of the new books that are out, clear reporting here that there was something of a Politburo running the White House at the end of the Biden administration when many of the most controversial pardons were issued. So in this case, Donald Trump, I think, is fully owning all of these decisions. And I agree with Ellie. In the Grimm case, if for no other reason than this paralysis that he suffered and the fact that he paid his debt, I think it's a defensible decision.
And in fact, Politburo was running the White House when the most controversial pardons were issued. Trump owns his decisions. Biden's team hid behind a machine. And the investigation is heating up. Comer announced that all 4 staffers who operated the Autopen have now lawyered up because they're terrified. Watch him explain how he's starting at the bottom and working up the chain to find out who gave the orders. Watch.
The 4 staffers that we've asked to come in for transcribed interviews, they have all lawyered up. They are taking this very seriously, and this is going to be a battle to get to the truth. We're going to see who was giving the directive to sign these. If everyone says it was Joe Biden, then I'm certainly open to bring him in. It's harder to bring in a former president. The Democrats tried to bring Donald Trump into some things. But at any rate, wherever the trail leads is where we're going to bring him in. And look, I would love to ask Joe Biden a lot of questions. But right now, we're starting with the staffers who are operating the Autopen. We're going to bring the physician, Dr. O'Connor, in because he definitely was not telling the truth about Joe Biden's health. We're going to have Ronnie Jackson there to counsel us on a lot of questions. We're very fortunate to have a member of Congress that was the previous White House physician. So I think we're going to be ready to go.
Be ready to go. Well, following the trail like they followed the money in the Biden crime family investigation. These staffers know they're in serious legal jeopardy. And Comer laid out even more disturbing details about the Autopen operation. Watch him explain how they're going after everyone involved, from the staffers who pressed the button to whoever gave them the authority. Even Biden himself might be called to testify about this constitutional crisis. Watch.
And like executive orders.
And very quickly on the signatures, you know, we hear from this energy group that they're questioning whether many of these executive orders and laws are even valid. In 2005, though, you had the DOJ Office of Legal Counsel determine that presidents can use Autopen to sign bills into law. So what would your committee have to find to make the determination that these EOs, these laws, are null and void?
Who gave the authority for the low-level staffers to take that document, put it in the Autopen, and press power to sign Joe Biden's name? Because many of those documents were signed on days where Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near the White House. There's no evidence of any email communication between the president and these staffers. We have the Hur report where Robert Hur sat down at length with Joe Biden and concluded that he couldn't even sit in front of a jury because he couldn't even remember the date of his election and of tragic events in his family's life and things like that. So there's plenty of evidence that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to make a lot of these decisions. We want to know who actually gave the authority to do these executive orders and these pardons, because again, I think the American people have seen up close and personal, especially during that debate with Donald Trump, that Joe Biden wasn't at the top of his game. This physician, Dr. O'Connor, he continued to give reports saying he was mentally fit and in perfect health. Now we know otherwise. So that's why we're bringing them in.
We're bringing them in. Many documents were signed on days Biden wasn't anywhere near the White House. Think about that. No email communication, no authorization trail. Pure fraud. So here's the most comprehensive breakdown yet. Comer confirms that no one is denying the Autopen use. No one is denying Biden wasn't mentally fit. Watch him explain why anything signed by machine without proper authorization must be invalidated. It's basic law. Watch.
Who was giving the authority for use of the Autopen? Remember, Sean, there was more activity in the last 100 days of the Biden administration than the first 3.5 years of the Biden administration. Many of the far-reaching executive orders were signed during the last 100 days, and they were all signed by the Autopen. We don't believe that you can sign a legal document with an Autopen. If I issue a subpoena, I have to fly to Washington, D.C. to manually sign my signature on that subpoena. Anything pertaining to the law has to be signed by a person. We know the Autopen was used. No one in the Biden administration is denying that the Autopen was used. No one now is denying that Joe Biden wasn't, mentally fit to make some of these decisions. So what I can tell you tonight is the four staffers that we've asked to come in for transcribed interviews, they have all lawyered up. They are taking this very seriously, and this is going to be a battle to get to the truth.
The 4 staffers have all lawyered up because they know this battle for truth is going to expose everything about who really ran America. Mario Nafal, he reports that the investigation could expand to include Hunter Biden, Jill Biden, and even Karine Jean-Pierre. Subpoenas are being prepared if witnesses don't cooperate. Watch this explosive report about just how deep this scandal goes.
House Republicans are escalating their pursuit of answers about then-President Biden's health and an alleged cover-up by those close to him. Subpoenas are being prepared, and they could include the former president's family. Here's senior national correspondent Aisha Hasni.
Tonight, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee are readying subpoenas in case former President Biden's White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, and 4 key staffers don't agree to a request for congressional interviews by the Thursday deadline. The committee is investigating the Biden administration's use of the Autopen to sign pardons and executive orders, some still being challenged in court. Chairman James Comer tells Fox the committee could even call in former First Lady Jill Biden, the president's son Hunter, and former White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
If the trail leads us to the next step, which many believe would be perhaps Jill Biden and Hunter Biden, then we will go there.
And while several Biden insiders have stayed quiet amid cover-up allegations, they could too potentially be forced to talk under oath. Jill Biden's former press secretary pushing back.
In regards to Chairman Comer, he spent 2 years trying to take on the Biden family, and he came up with nothing. He went fishing in a dry lake.
New books about Biden's decline have some Democrats now owning up to their failures.
We should have pushed back against a lot of what we were hearing from the White House.
Others even welcoming a congressional probe to try to figure out what was happening inside the
What was happening? $16 billion in Pennsylvania deals, $25 billion overall, potentially signed by a machine while Biden's family ran the show. Anonymous has now even weighed in with chilling analysis. Legal experts say presidential Autopen use requires 5 levels of approval. 5. But there's no record of authorization for Biden's pardons. Watch as Anonymous breaks down how this constitutional crisis might require prosecuting pardon recipients to test if the robotic signatures are even valid. Watch.
Many legal experts are now suggesting the Autopen, a machine that signs documents on behalf of the president, requires at least 5 levels of approval: lawyers, policy advisors, and ultimately the president himself. But here's the problem. There's no record of that approval, not for some of Biden's most serious acts, like presidential pardons. So if you're one of the people who received a pardon, but there's no proof the president authorized it, are you actually pardoned? Legal scholars say there's only one way to find out. Take it to court. Indict someone who got one of those robotic signatures, and let the legal system decide if it holds up. Because if it doesn't, we may be looking at a crisis of legitimacy, where machines impersonate presidents and unelected staff wield the powers of the Constitution. The lack of transparency forces us to a chilling possibility that the Constitution was subverted by the Biden administration. And if that's true, it's a crime against every American. My friends, we are all anonymous. And to those hiding behind machines and signatures without souls, we see you.
It is without question, and maybe even worse than Watergate in some ways. Right. How powerful the presidency is and how presidents get surrounded by people who have a vested interest in keeping that president propped up.
Joe Biden reviewed 1,538 clemency actions in one day. If the signings happened with each clemency action getting a 5-minute review, it would take 17 and a half days if working 8-hour days.
Anonymous is on the case now. Watch out. So if Biden reviewed 1,538 clemency actions in one day, working 8 hours, you heard him. That's 17 and a half days of work. That's just physically impossible. Now take a look at this. Comer is ready to haul Biden before Congress to testify about his cognitive state and Autopen use. After so many failed attempts to protect Biden, why is he still being shielded? This is not just about signatures. It's about who really held presidential power while Americans' enemies watched us stumble. Every executive order, every pardon, every official act signed by that machine is now in question. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is it, folks. The smoking gun. While we were told Biden was sharp as a tack, a machine was signing laws. While we were called conspiracy theorists, staffers were forging presidential power. Every climate order that killed jobs, fake signature. Every radical pardon that freed criminals, robotic pen. Every executive action that hurt America, mechanical fraud. And the staffers, they had lawyered up because they know that prison awaits. Comer's following the trail straight to the top. Elizabeth Warren, Hunter, Jill, they all knew. They all participated. They turned the presidency into a forgery factory while Joe drooled in Delaware. This isn't just impeachable, it's criminal. The Constitution requires the president, not a machine, to execute the laws. Everything signed by that Autopen is void. Period. Should everyone pardoned by Biden's robot be rearrested? Dr. Fauci? Drop a yes or no in the comments below. And get your authentic Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Link below. Okay, no super chats to speak of, so we can go right into the question. Y'all said the answer was B, the Watergate cover-up. Let's find out if you were right. Yes, the Watergate cover-up and edited transcripts. Nixon's edited yes. Nixon's edited transcripts and forged documents brought down his presidency. Biden's Autopen scandal could be even worse. All right, let's go to our next trivia question of the evening. Which FBI director was fired by a president for abuse of power and refusal to pledge loyalty? A. J. Edgar Hoover by Nixon. B. William Sessions by Clinton. D. James Comey by Trump. Or D. Louis Freeh by Bush. You can drop your answer in the poll in the chat room. Drop your answer in the chat room or in the comments below. Remember, don't skip ahead if you're watching on replay, because we're going to give you the answer after this segment. And I do want to point out we just received Sandra dropping $5. Thank you, Sandra. And we also have Squeeze-A-Lot opening up his wallet again tonight. Halfway, expect the frog to start moving. Pocahontas and others, if found guilty, should get the short drop and the sudden stop. $5. Well, last night, if you saw, we did show you a video, AI video that Todd made of the frog dancing. That was pretty funny. All right. Let's go to our next topic. They found hidden rooms, secret documents, bags of evidence stashed away from official records. This is not a spy novel. It's what Kash Patel and Dan Bongino just discovered at FBI headquarters. The Comey era's darkest secrets are finally seeing daylight, and what they're finding will shock you to your core. Bongino calls Comey a disgrace to the badge who acted like a child with his beach photo threats. Now they're uncovering everything, from January 6 pipe bombs to Epstein's final moments. The FBI's transformation under Trump isn't just about policy, it's about exposing decades of corruption, lies, and cover-ups. The truth is finally breaking free. Keep watching, because we have all of the details. And just like the FBI hid evidence from the American people, Big Pharma hides the truth about testosterone. Most guys think aging drains their energy, but the real culprit is something you eat every day. Something they call healthy. This one food devastates testosterone levels, yet you probably eat it weekly. It's not junk food or sugar. It's way more unexpected. And Sculpt Nation discovered men who cut this food completely transformed their bodies, building muscle, burning fat, feeling 20 years younger. And the results are incredible. You want to know what this testosterone-killing food is? Head to sculptnation.com/NNN, link down below in the description for the free video. Now, the FBI cleanup has begun, and it's exposing corruption beyond our worst nightmare. Deputy Director Dan Bongino just went nuclear on James Comey, revealing the damage that this disgraced former director continues to inflict on the Bureau. Watch as he exposes the hidden rooms filled with Comey-era secrets and explains why Comey's a child and a disgrace to the badge. Watch.
I got to tell you, of all the things that have surprised me in the close to now 3 months I've been here, is the depravity of Jim Comey. This man is a disgrace to the badge, the FBI, and the country. What he's doing right now, one, going out and taking shots at Kash. Kash doesn't belong. Kash was the chief of staff at the Department of. Kash is a patriot. Kash has served in numerous high-level roles, taking personal shots while you're on the beach, implying a threat towards the president, and blaming your wife about it. And let me just add about James Comey, Saint Comey, who walks around there moralizing to everyone how wonderful of a human being he is. What you said is absolutely accurate. We have wasted countless man-hours now running out tips to our tip line about people putting 8647 because of Jim Comey, because he cannot control himself and his emotions. He is a child. He is a big child. And let me tell you one more thing. Jim Comey, who wants you to believe, Jim Comey taking a shot at the president. Oh, look at me. I'm such a victim. The president's going after me. He's making a ton of money on this book. The only person that got prosecuted was the president. Jim Comey, we're finding stuff even now. Wait till you read the stuff that's coming out.
Does he still have loyalists in the building? Because when I hear the FBI director saying, you guys are finding boxes that are hidden, okay, how does that happen in the Bureau?
Well, we were there a couple of weeks, and luckily there were a lot of people up there who grabbed us by the arm the minute we came in and said, thank you for being here. We need to talk. There are people there who are really horrified at what happened. And there was a room, and we found stuff, a lot of stuff.
A hidden room?
I wouldn't call it hidden, but hidden from us at least, and not mentioned to us. And then we found stuff in there, and a lot of it's from the Comey era, and we are working our damnedest right now to declassify. And just so you know, because I get the public, I totally understand people saying, well, do it now. The process is not all the information is ours to declassify. Some is other intelligence agencies. It's not, we literally can't do it. Once that gets done and that gets out there and you read some of the stuff we found that, by the way, was not processed through the normal procedure, digitizing it, putting in FBI records. We found it in bags hiding under Jim Comey's FBI. Quickly, you're going to be stunned.
The shells on the beach, can you?
Unbelievable. They found stuff in bags hidden from official FBI records, not digitized, not processed, just stashed away. Wait till you see what's in those documents. But here's what's really costing American lives. Kash Patel, he revealed how Comey's childish 8647 beach photo has now forced the FBI to divert critical resources. Watch as the FBI director explains how many agents he's had to pull from hunting child predators and drug traffickers just to chase down Comey-inspired copycat threats. Watch.
So I won't be lectured on how to run this FBI from that man.
Well, James Comey was just on talking about all of that, the seashells and everything, and he also talked about you.
Obviously, you start with the fact that the guy has literally nothing in his entire adult life that prepares him for this role, and so that's deeply concerning to start with. In a way, I kind of a little bit sorry for the guy. He's barked at the FBI nonsense for years, and now he not only caught the car, he's got to drive the car, and so that is a daunting task for him. I hope he lets the career people do their jobs, but they've already forced out a bunch of good career people and sent a chill through the organization.
That's James Comey.
If he wants to come after me, no problem. I've been living rent-free in that guy's head for years, and that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director?
Is that right?
Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists? Because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke and they can do it because he did it. That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
The 8647, the president said that he believed it was an assassination message.
Yeah, it was. Now, agents pulled offline from chasing child sex predators and fentanyl traffickers because Comey thought threatening the president was a joke. This is the cost of his narcissism. While Comey plays games, real crime is being fought. Federal authorities just busted an Armenian fraud ring that stole $30 million in COVID relief meant for struggling Americans. Watch, here's some footage of the pre-dawn raids as Homeland Security takes down the transnational crime syndicate.
We also, found that they were spending this money that was meant for people that need it in order to exploit the American people.
Now, federal agents bust up an Armenian fraud ring in Los Angeles. 14 men charged with trying to steal tens of millions of dollars from the government. Matt Finham got an exclusive look at the action. He joins us now with more on the story there. Matt, what is the story?
Well, Bill, this is the second time in a matter of days that the feds have busted a transnational crime organization here in Los Angeles.
This is the police. We have a warrant. Come out with your hands up.
Fox News exclusively capturing Homeland Security's sunrise bust of this Armenian-born man at his LA area home. The suspect, who uses the alias William McGrayan, surrenders with his hands over his head. Investigators say McGrayan is the brains of a transnational crime ring that stole $30 million in COVID relief and small business loans meant to help tax-paying Americans.
If you're engaged in fraud, if you're taking money from the government that doesn't belong to you, your door could be the next one that we're hitting.
According to court documents, an informant describes McGrayan as unhinged, claiming he talked about his ties to gangs in Armenia and threatened one person with a gun and a baseball bat. In the multi-agency sting led by DHS, 14 people were taken into custody.
The suspects are simultaneously arrested across town so they can't tip one another off, and then they're brought to this special processing center to be booked.
The suspects are charged with conspiracy, wire and bank fraud, and money laundering. Investigators say multiple shell companies were created using phony documents. Some of the money was spent on homes and luxury goods. The rest was wired to Armenia, making it harder for the U.S. to trace.
These fraudsters applied for $47 million in federal funds. They got away with about 30. Most are Armenian-born, but have become naturalized, and at least one faces deportation. Bill.
Unbelievable. 14 men arrested, $30 million stolen from taxpayers, luxury goods purchased while Americans suffered. This is what the FBI should be focused on. And Kash Patel, he laid out the new FBI priorities in stark terms. Watch as he promises to be responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars while revealing the shocking waste of previous directors. The days of private jets and personal junkets are over. This FBI now works for the American people. Watch.
Welcome back to the FBI Academy at Quantico, Virginia. Joining us again, FBI Director Kash Patel. You were recently up on Capitol Hill answering questions.
When should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this.
It is budget season. Yeah. And should you have laid out a budget by then to Congress? Because everybody is looking to how much you're going to spend and how much they're going to take from perhaps you to make this all work.
Do I have a budget at the FBI? Sure, of course I do. But the Office of Management Budget at the White House sets the budget for the United States government. And so if they have a budget which we agree with, they need to roll that out. And they're doing so on their own timeline and working with Congress on that. What I'm telling the American people is that we will be stewards of the taxpayer dollars no matter what budget we are given, and focus on these priorities: crushing violent crime, defending the homeland, and fierce organizational accountability. And we'll make it happen. We're not the guys running around on private jets. And somebody maybe in Congress should ask for how many flights on a private jet Director Comey took, or my predecessor Director Wray took, and how many personal trips they took. I know they want to take pot shots at me, but I've been working nonstop on this job, including pretty much every single weekend. And somebody should ask the tens of millions of dollars that were wasted on personal junkets by prior FBI directors before lecturing me on a budget for the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Prior FBI directors wasted tens of millions on personal trips while lecturing about budgets. Patel is working weekends while they flew private jets. The FBI is even leaving the crumbling Hoover building where cement literally falls on people's heads. Patel explained that they're moving next to the Department of Justice where they belong, consolidating 6 wasteful offices. This is what draining the swamp looks like, fixing decades of neglect and mismanagement. Watch.
When do you want everyone out of the Hoover building? You say you want to move out of that building. Where would the new headquarters be?
I can tell you that we are in the process of moving out. We've just worked out the final logistics to begin that process, and we are actually in line with keeping the American taxpayer dollars on mission, shuttering about 6 different offices the FBI has in the D.C. area, and we're moving to our new location within the D.C. area, and that process has already started.
Which is where? Maryland?
We're staying in Washington, D.C., right next to our partners at the Department of Justice, and we're getting out of the Hoover building. I have cargo nets holding up the cement structures of the exterior of the Hoover building because it catches falling cement and prevents it from hitting someone in the head. I'm not making that up. Why no one in the past decided to address that standard or lack of standard and make that building unsafe is beyond me, but we're addressing it.
So you're going to leave that building and then go to another building next to Homeland Security?
Next to the Department of Justice.
Justice, got it.
Because we have to, this is a great point that I think people overlook. We are a component of the Department of Justice. Moving us an hour and a half outside of town. Every morning, do you know what me and the deputy do? We walk across the street to brief the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, and the PAYDAG on the most pressing matters of the day. If we leave, how are we going to do that on a daily basis?
What's the thing that keeps you up at night?
The CCP, for a whole host of reasons we haven't even talked about, their cyber espionage campaign, what they're doing undersea.
Cargo nets catching falling cement to prevent injuries. That's the state that Comey left the FBI in. Patel's fixing what previous directors ignored. But the real bombshells are in the reopened cases. Bongino announced they're aggressively investigating the January 6 pipe bombs that the previous administration mysteriously ignored. They're also revealing new Epstein evidence. Watch him explain how surveillance footage proves Epstein was completely alone. But do you believe it? Watch.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. Right. There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So he says the video shows Epstein was the only person there, no accomplices, no murder. Just the truth the establishment doesn't want you to see. I want to see this. I know you do too. Now, the FBI is rebuilding public trust by solving cases of significant public interest. Bongino explained how they're closing in on suspects in multiple high-profile cases, including fascinating tips from social media. Watch him detail their systematic approach to restoring the FBI's reputation. Watch.
So the moment Cash and I swore in, we realized that the first thing we had to do is rebuild public trust. This is your FBI. It's not mine. I tell the employees every day, you don't own it, you don't own it, I don't own it. It's like being the center fielder for the Yankees. That'll live with you forever, but you don't own the Yankees. It's a proud franchise. The place has taken a reputational hit. There is zero question about it. There were a lot of bad actors. One of them still out there causing us all kinds of trouble. So we had to fix it and rebuild public trust. One of the ways to do it is these cases of significant public interest that matter. You know, we had 2 pipe bombs planted on January 6th. I mean, we were told by partisan actors out there this was the insurrection, the world was going to fall apart, and no one seemed to show any interest in this case. The second we got in, I put a team on it, and I said, I want answers on this. And I'm pretty confident that we're closing in on some suspects. We got to. The reason, by the way, I use social media with these cases, I'm trying to communicate on social media, is nothing's by accident, guys. I do nothing by accident. Every time I put a tweet out on it, we get tips. We got a fascinating tip on one of these cases, one of the 3. I don't want to say which one, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to close out one of them, hopefully shortly. And in the cocaine in the White House, you know, I saw someone on social media, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. We work for you, but said, I don't care about the case. Yeah, I do. I was a Secret Service agent. A potentially hazardous material made its way into the White House. Nobody seems to know how it got there, and nobody seemed to investigate it fully. Like, you know, what planet do we live on where that's not of public interest?
2 pipe bombs on January 6th and nobody cared. The cocaine in Biden's White House and nobody investigated. Well, those days are over. Transformation isn't happening without resistance, though. When Comey attacked Patel's qualifications on TV, claiming he's unprepared for the role, he exposed his own panic. The man who weaponized the FBI against Trump now watches his legacy crumble as real cops do real police work. So the message is clear. The FBI belongs to the American people again. No more political persecution, no more hidden rooms, no more protecting the powerful while targeting patriots. Patel and Bongino are delivering on Trump's promise to restore law and order. Every document they uncover, every case they reopen, every corrupt practice they expose brings us one step closer to the truth. The deep state's enforcement arm has been turned against them, and they're absolutely terrified. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. So this is justice, patriots, real justice. For years, the FBI was the deep state's attack dog, raiding Trump's home, protecting Biden's crimes, ignoring real threats while hunting MAGA grandmas. Now Patel and Bongino are turning the tables. Hidden rooms exposed, Comey's corruption revealed, the Epstein truth supposedly uncovered. January 6 pipe bombers being hunted. This isn't just reform, it's revolution. Every bag of hidden documents, every reopened case, every fired bureaucrat brings us closer to the FBI that we all deserve. An FBI that catches criminals, not creates them. That protects children, not political elites. That serves justice and not narratives. Comey's spending his retirement making threats with seashells while real men clean up his mess. The establishment's worst nightmare has come true. Patriots control the police power. So should Comey be prosecuted for the crimes that they're uncovering? Drop a yes or a no. Let me know down below. And you can gear up by visiting our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, before we get to, first, yes, we do have Resto Guy. Thank you for that. $50. That is awesome, man. He says, I need a second job for this gig, but worth it. Thanks, Gary. Wow, $50 right here. Here's the $50 bill. We're $136 in Super Chats tonight. Thank you so much. We have some sad news to share real quick. Let's take a look here. We lost a hero today. Bernie Carrick has passed away. Bernard Carrick, hero of 9/11 and close friend of Illinois Review's Mark Vargas, passes away at 69. Mark Vargas posted this an hour ago. So many great memories. America lost a national treasure, and for many of us, a dear friend today. Rest in peace, Bernie Carrick. There you see Mark and Giuliani and Carrick on a private jet. There's Bernie kicking back in the jet with Mark. Raheem Kassam posted this. Former NYPD commissioner and hero to the MAGA movement, Bernie Carrick, has died. What happened? Well, I asked Mark. I texted him when I found out the news and sent him my condolences. And he said that there were some complications. He went in for a heart procedure, and it turned deadly. So sadly, that's the news we have at this moment. So say a prayer for Bernie Carrick and his family. I was honored a couple years ago to be the MC for an event that he was leading, teaching people in the Chicago area how to be election judges, bringing together members of law enforcement from around the Chicago area to the Trump Tower to empower them for election integrity. So I had a great opportunity to meet him and work with him at that event. So America definitely has lost a national treasure today. So say a prayer. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's go back to our trivia question. You guys said it was C, James Comey by Trump at 61%. Were you correct? Well, the answer is, in fact, C, James Comey by Trump. Trump fired Comey for disloyalty and corruption, and now we are discovering just how deep that corruption went with hidden rooms full of evidence. There it is. Comey-era evidence. Wow. Okay. All right, let's check in with the main news feed real quick. But that is the unfortunate news we have to share at this hour with respect to Bernie Carrick. What else is happening in the news right now? Appeals court temporarily restores Donald Trump's tariff authority. A huge win for America First policies, a major setback for globalist trade agendas. Trump's tariffs are back on track, and it's time to put America first. Good news. Someone commenting about Elon Musk. I don't think the GOP understands the gravity of the situation with Elon. They believe they can win it all without him. Before the election, he put countless money and time into getting Trump and other elected so we would have the majority. Oh, we got a Doge update. Credit card 22 seconds ago. After 13 weeks, the program to audit unused, unneeded credit cards, across 32 agencies has resulted in 523,000 deactivated cards. As a reminder, we're at the start of the audit, we were at 4.6 billion active cards and accounts. We are now expanding the program to more agencies as there is much more work to do. Here's the audit from the Doge boys. Wow. 523,000 deactivated coins. Coins. Doge coins, right? Wall Street Apes, what is he saying here? American hamburger meat contains up to 10% of red slush that doesn't have to be included on the labels. All the big stores do it. They have something, we call it the red Slurpee or slush. When they have big packing plants to remove the meat from the cartilage, they put it in an ammonia bath, and what happens is it all floats to the top. They dry and palletize it, and legally you can take that and add up to 10% to the burger, and you don't have to put it on the label. It's considered food, so you can have a hamburger. Buy that stuff for $1 a pound, add to it, and all the big stores do it. You can add to it. And now all of a sudden you're selling a hamburger that's really only 90% and you're putting this fill into it. And there's several studies showing for a brief moment that when your stomach acids break it down, it opens up your body for cancer cells. It's no wonder the MAGA report found what it did. Yuck. Yuck. Who knew? The judges preventing Trump's tariffs from going into effect only shows other nations how weak we are. They are, in effect, siding with other countries over their own by allowing these nations to continue to rip off the American taxpayer. All right, let's see. We got this from the Washington Times 2 minutes ago. White House acknowledges problems in RFK Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again report. What? What kind of problems? No, please. Representative Nancy Mace, you either stand with Israel and the Jewish people or you're siding with terrorists like Hamas. There's no middle ground. Anti-Semitism is vile and defending it is indefensible. I'm not even going to read what she quote tweeted here. Let's see what else is going on here. What is this? This is Republicans' biggest nightmare. How will we ever recover from this? What is this?
As the saying goes, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah, somebody knows a lot about menus there. Mario Nafal repeating the message about the wasteful federal contracts getting shredded. Just 72 hours, 160 wasteful federal contracts got shredded. Total ceiling $283 million. Projected savings $145 million. Among the cuts, $67,000 Treasury deal for executive coaching of so-called high potential managers. Wow. Gotta love the Doge, huh? All right, folks, that's the show tonight. And what a show we have had. We've exposed the whole rotten system, and let me tell you, they're scared, really scared. We started with Trump's trade victories. While the media screams about tariffs destroying America, what's actually happening? Consumer confidence through the roof. 4% growth is coming. Manufacturing is returning home. NVIDIA's CEO praising Trump's vision. The Fraternal Order of Police endorsing the one big beautiful bill. Even regular Americans on the street are saying that Trump's amazing. He loves the country. But what do activist judges do? They try to block it all. I mean, they can't stand that Trump is always winning. Then we expose the grand betrayal at the Kennedy Center. Floyd Brown, a conservative hero who helped build our movement, fired by Rick Grenell for being a Christian. Not fired by the left, by one of our own. Brown refused to recant his biblical beliefs about marriage and then got shown the door. If Christians can't work in Trump's controlled institutions, then who is really running the show? This is cancel culture eating our own. And Caroline Leavitt came out swinging at today's press conference, exposing the judicial coup against Trump. More injunctions in 1 month than Biden faced in 3 years. Course ordering us to bring back terrorists, fund child mutilation, keep men in women's prisons. But Leavitt torched them all, revealing how Trump is fighting back and winning. The economy is booming, borders secured, even Hamas is at the negotiating table. That is what real leadership looks like. And then the Autopen scandal. It is exploding. Biden wasn't signing anything, a machine was, and Comer's investigation has his staffers lawyered up and running scared. Elizabeth Warren apparently controlled the robot pen while Biden drooled in Delaware. Every executive order, every pardon, every official act potentially invalid, folks. This is bigger than Watergate. The Constitution requires the president to sign laws not by a machine operated by unelected staffers. And then we have this from Lori Newland dropping $2. Thank you, Lori, for that. Sincerely. We have $2 from somewhere. Where's my $2? $2. Here we go. Thank you, Lori Newland. And then finally, the FBI's transformation. Patel and Bongino found hidden rooms full of Comey-era secrets. And they're reopening the January 6th pipe bomb case. And they claim they've got video proving Epstein was actually alone. We'll see about that. And they're moving out of a crumbling Hoover building and actually catching real criminals. No more private jets for corrupt directors while agents lack resources. The FBI belongs to the people again. So to everyone who sent in super chats and Rumble rants tonight, thank you. You make this show possible. $138 tonight. Your voices matter, and your support keeps independent media alive when they desperately want us silenced. So tell a friend about the Raw feed. Share tonight's stream. Check out our merch shop and show the world you stand with real news, because together we're not just reporting on making America great again. You know what we're doing? We're part of it. One more super chat just came in. $2 from Squeeze-A-Lot. Thank you for that. What do you want me to do? You know, Gary, get ready to dance. Oh, you guys, because you know that music's coming. You love that closing song. I love it too. The Raw Feed theme song. So this is Gary Franchi saying, stay strong, stay informed, and keep fighting. And we'll see you next time on the Raw Feed.